This slideshow was put together by Felicia Tarantino, Manahil Hassan, Luciano Marriott, Jeremy Dillon, and Haley McIntyre. This is a project for the Level 1 Religious Studies course, What on Earth is Religion? I will be presenting the research of the Eleusinian mysteries, the rites of Demeter, and the style of a Pechakucha. There are three main gods and goddesses present in the myth of the Eleusinian mysteries. First is Demeter, whom is the goddess of harvest, and the fourth is Zeus's 7 wives. She is highly respected within these ceremonies. Her daughter Persephone is goddess of spring and queen of the underworld. Lastly is Hades, the god of the underworld and Persephone's capturer. It was told that Demeter had a daughter named Kor, whom was kidnapped and raped by the lord of the underworld. Demeter searches for her daughter, ultimately arriving at a well in Eleusis. Eventually, Zeus convinces Hades to return Persephone, but not before Hades convinces her to eat pomegranate seeds. This ensures that Persephone will have to spend half of every year in the underworld. The Eleusinian Mysteries was an event that began in the month of September in honor of Demeter, the goddess of harvest, and her daughter Persephone. All initiates made an oath to misery of death and swore not to tell anyone of their ritual practice. Much is unknown about these events. However, it was known that anyone who entered went through a change and no longer feared death. The celebration of Demeter's rites was an 8-day-long ceremony that took place in 2 locations. The Lesser Mysteries were the beginning of the purification rites. Participants would sacrifice a pig to Demeter before the commencement of their purification. This particular component was thought to be held annually during the spring season. The second component was the Greater Mysteries. These were held every 4 years on the 14th day of the first month of the Attic calendar. Those who were purified would walk the sacred way, reenacting the search for Persephone. In Eleusis, participants would fast and drink kykion, a barley and mint beverage. The Great Mysteries commenced with an announcement by the herald. This announcement was intended to recruit individuals to become initiates for the ceremony. The herald extended the invitation to all desirable candidates. The only individuals whom were excluded were those who were criminals or those who were known to be gossips. Ancient texts suggest that these mysteries began as early as 1450 BCE and ended in 382 CE, lasting approximately 2,000 years. Although it is not confirmed, ancient texts suggest that the Lesser Mysteries occurred annually in the springtime and the Greater Mysteries were held every 4 or 5 years in autumn. As mentioned, the mysteries of Eleusis are wholly based on the myth of Demeter, particularly due to the effect the myth had upon Greek life. When Persephone was in the underworld, Demeter's heartache would cause crop failure and subsequent famine for the Greeks. However, when Persephone returned, the crops would grow once more. This gave an explanation for the seasons. The Greater and Lesser Mysteries were held in coordination with this tale, hence why they were celebrated in the autumn and in the spring. The Greeks celebrated this time of Persephone's return, as this would mean that the land would be fruitful. Her return signified a time of happiness, and the Lesser Mysteries honored that time. The ceremony was split into 3 parts: the descent, the search, and the ascent. It was believed by English translator Thomas Taylor that these mysteries were symbolic. The Lesser Mysteries were representative of the process the soul undertakes when exposed to distress of the physical body. The Greater Mysteries were the way of cleansing the negativity of the material world and setting free the soul to the divine. Over time, many of the activities performed have been determined. 2 of the most notable are listed on the slide. The first is the torch walk, where initiates will reenact Demeter's search for Persephone while carrying torches. The other, the sacred way, was the road taken by initiates from Athens to Eleusis, following 2 actors portraying Demeter and her son. There were 4 groups who were permitted to attend these ceremonies. The first consisted of priests, priestesses, and hierophants, who were individuals that would interpret the mysteries. Second were the initiates undergoing the ceremony for the first time. Thirdly were those who had participated at least once before, and lastly were those who had learned the secrets of the greatest mysteries. The mysteries did not occur in just one set place. The Lesser Mysteries were located on the Ilissos River in the suburban area of Athens. The Greater Mysteries began in Athens, and the group traveled to Eleusis via the Sacred Way. In Eleusis, the majority of the activities were thought to have occurred at an underground theater called the Telesterion. The Telesterion played a significant role in the events of the mysteries. It served great purpose as the location for the initiation of newcomers, as well as the sanctuary for honoring Demeter and Kor. It was large and rectangular, though not much else is known of its structure, as it was left in ruins from the raid of a lark. It was thought to have been constructed between 435 BCE and 421 BCE. The secrecy of the mysteries ensured a significant role of punishment. There are two punishments within the cult, death and divine punishment. While death was more absolute, divine punishment evoked more fear. Initiates were made to believe that gods would penalize them for their sins, and reminders of this were set in stone at the Eleusinian, stating the name and judgments upon wrongdoers. Demeter inflicted great fear upon the Greek world. However, this did not always suffice in keeping order. Many examples of breaking the vow of silence are recorded in ancient texts. Some wrongdoers would deny the allegations, insisting they had not been aware of the rules or initiated, while others blatantly professed the rejection of the widely believed ideas of the Greek gods and their powers. Renowned classical Greek philosopher Plato was known to be an initiate of the mysteries. In his dialogue Phaedo on Socrates' death, he described his belief of purification and of the divine. Additionally, Plutarch, a Greek biographer, expressed his beliefs in relation to his daughter's death, where he asserted his confidence in the fact that their participation would lead to her entrance to heaven. The Eleusinian mysteries flourished for many years before coming to an end in 382 CE. The Christian emperor Theodosius brought upon the end because he believed it was an inspiring resistance to the Christianity and the truth of Christ. The site stood for 14 years afterwards until the raid of an Arian group brought it to ruins. The Eleusinian mysteries and the myth of Persephone and Demeter were crucial components to early Greek life. They gave many believers a purpose and a comfort in their own mortality. The length in which these mysteries lasted proves their significance to ancient Greek history of religion and ceremonious practices. To conclude this presentation, here is a joke of the stars of this ritual.